Welcome, beloved chosen ones, seekers of the divine truth, and those whose hearts are stirring with the call of something far greater than themselves. Whether you are weary and carrying burdens that feel too heavy to bear, or perhaps just awakening to a light that shines faintly yet persistently within, know this: you have not arrived here by chance. This moment is a place of refuge, a sacred space where judgment has no home and only understanding prevails. Pause for a moment. Take a breath and let go of the weight you've been carrying, the doubts, the confusion, the isolation that may have wrapped around you like shadows. You are not alone on this journey. Here we stand together, bound by a deeper purpose and met with the love, wisdom, and guidance that has awaited your arrival. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Do you feel that calling? A calling to find peace in a place that has been prepared just for you. In this space, your light is not just noticed, it is cherished. This is where the divine presence thins the veil between the spiritual and the earthly realms, allowing us to see beyond the surface. Here, your heart can breathe and your spirit can find rest. Together, let us walk with faith toward a truth that has been patiently waiting for you all along. A truth that speaks to the deepest parts of your soul and reminds you that you have been chosen for a purpose far beyond the limits of this world. But why are you here, beloved? Why has the path of your life led you to this exact moment? It is because the journey you've undertaken has meaning beyond what you see. You, the chosen ones, have been called, not just to walk a path of faith, but to stand as a testament of divine purpose. Perhaps you've felt the struggles and seen the trials set before you as insurmountable challenges, yet they were never meant to destroy you. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Yes, those battles were part of the preparation, the sharpening of your spirit for the greater calling you carry. As we step forward now, let us begin to unravel the truth that has been laid before you. This truth is both a comfort and a call to action. It is a divine proclamation that the struggles you've endured are not in vain. Instead, they are a sign, a confirmation that your journey holds purpose, and that those who have stood in opposition will not have the final word. Are you ready to uncover the meaning of this journey? To understand that God has sealed the fate of those who rise against His chosen. Together, let's dive into the message that awaits, the truth that beckons, and the assurance that your enemies will not prevail. Chosen ones, God has sealed their fate. Your enemies will not be saved. Have you ever found yourself asking, why, after all I've given, was my kindness returned with cruelty? Why, when I extended my hand in generosity, did I only encounter takers and betrayers? You opened your heart wide, offering the very depths of your soul to those you thought worthy of your trust. You shared your hopes, your dreams, your fears, and in return you were met with envy, backstabbing, and pain that seemed so undeserved. Why, God? Why must this be my reality? You may have cried out, but let me tell you something, chosen ones. What if I told you that every trial, every painful moment of naivety was never meant to destroy you, but to prepare you for something far greater? These moments, though they may have felt like punishment, were in fact divine lessons meant to sharpen you for the battles ahead. There is a weight, a unique burden, that the chosen ones carry. We are often taught, especially in our younger years, that kindness will be met with kindness, that love will be reciprocated, and that those who walk in goodness will encounter goodness in return. But my friends, The world we live in is far more complex than we could have ever imagined. In a world teeming with hidden wolves, with hearts cloaked in darkness, those who are pure of heart are often left vulnerable. Be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Matthew 10:2. How many times have we given too much, trusted too soon, or spoken our truths too freely, unaware that our very light could blind those who live in shadows? We placed our faith in people who appeared to be as we were, good, kind, open-hearted, and in our innocence we mistook their smiles for safety. But God, in His infinite wisdom, didn't let these moments of betrayal break us. No, He allowed them to awaken us. The Lord disciplines those He loves. Hebrews 12:6. And through each trial, He was not punishing you, but preparing you. Your heart, chosen one, is not one that should be used to see the world through the lens of fear, but through the lens of divine purpose. What if those moments of betrayal were not there to destroy you, but to build your armor, to fortify you, to show you that not every hand extended in friendship is pure, but that you are still covered in His grace and protection? And in the end, as you emerge from the pain, you will see that it is not your enemies who hold the power. They are but temporary players in the greater story God is unfolding for you. Are you beginning to see it now? Are you starting to understand the divine purpose in your struggles? The chosen ones are not merely meant to survive. We are meant to thrive, to rise above, and to walk into our destiny with the knowledge that God has already sealed the fate of those who would dare stand against us. Have you ever found yourself reflecting on the arguments, the betrayals, the sudden shifts in relationships, and wondered, how did I not see it coming? How did I miss the signs? It's easy to feel regret, to think that somehow you failed or fell short. But listen closely, chosen one, you did not fail. You were simply meant to learn. For the Lord gives wisdom, from His mouth come knowledge and understanding. Proverbs 10:6. Every wound you carry, every scar on your heart, is not a mark of weakness, but a living testament to your growth. These marks are proof that you have endured, and through your endurance, you have been refined. Those who you once called friends, who betrayed you or deceived you, were never meant to be part of your final destination. They were distractions, tools used by the divine to push you further down the path to your true divine purpose. And make no mistake, you were never meant to stay small. Now, as your eyes are being opened, you begin to see it all, the traps that were set before you, the whispers of doubt that tried to cloud your vision, the silent betrayals that seemed so subtle, yet so sharp. These were not random events. They were all part of the refining process, shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. You are not the same person who once shared too much or trusted too freely. You've been through the fire, and now you are emerging from the flames, stronger and more focused than ever before. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:2-3. God has been preparing you. He has been sharpening your spirit, guiding you through the lessons of the past, all in preparation for the moment when you can stand tall, fearless, and unshaken, in the face of those who once sought to tear you down. Can you feel it, chosen one? The shift that's happening within you. The veil between the physical and spiritual is thinning, and you are beginning to see with new eyes. You are no longer bound by the limitations of fear or doubt. The God who has been with you through every trial is now lifting you up, revealing to you the strength that has always been inside you. The world may have tried to break you, but God has been molding you into something far greater, something that cannot be defeated. Now is the time to rise. Now is the time to walk forward with confidence, knowing that the enemies who once sought to pull you down have already been defeated. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Isaiah 54:17. The veil is lifting, And as it does, you're emerging stronger, more resilient, and more aligned with your true purpose than ever before. This is your time, chosen one, your moment to stand firm in the truth that God has already sealed your fate, and no one can take that from you. How did it feel, chosen one, when you first realized you had enemies? Not just people who simply didn't like you or disagreed with you, but those who actively sought to tear you down, those who worked in secret to destroy the very good you were trying to bring into the world. It's a shock like no other. It hits you like a cold wave, suddenly sweeping over you, a realization that creeps in gradually, almost like a shadow you can't quite shake off. It's a feeling that leaves you breathless as the illusions of friendship and loyalty, those comforting thoughts that you once held, begin to dissolve before your eyes. At first, all you feel is confusion. How could they betray me? How could they be working against me when all I ever did was show them kindness and love? You search for answers, trying to make sense of the impossible. How could those you trusted, those you believed in, turn their backs on you so easily? The feeling, dear friend, is unlike any other. It is a loneliness that gnaws at your core, a profound ache that seems to pierce straight through your heart. You thought you had allies. You thought you were surrounded by those who understood your heart, those who would stand by you when the storms came. But suddenly, without warning, you find yourself standing alone. But the Lord is with me like a mighty warrior. Jeremiah 20:11. In that moment, when the weight of isolation presses down on your chest, when the air feels thin and every breath seems harder to take, you ask yourself, what did I do to deserve this? What went wrong? What did I miss? You replay the conversations in your mind. You search for your mistakes, looking for any sign of where you might have failed, trying to find fault within yourself, because surely there must be some explanation. And yet, there isn't. Because the truth is, chosen one, the only thing you did wrong was trust those who were never meant to be in your circle. Do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians 15:33. You didn't do anything wrong except love too deeply, care too much, and see the good in people who were never meant to share in your destiny. The betrayal isn't a reflection of your inadequacy, but of their inability to recognize the light you carry. You see, sometimes God allows the betrayal, the heartache and the isolation to come as a way of removing distractions. As painful as it is, these moments clear the path for your true purpose. They separate you from the noise and the confusion, allowing you to focus solely on the mission He has set before you. You were never meant to carry that weight of false loyalty. It's time to let go and move forward, chosen one, because your journey isn't about the ones who left. It's about the one who remains. Sometimes, chosen one, the only reason you have enemies, the only reason people rise up against you, is simply because your light threatens their darkness. You didn't ask for this battle. You didn't seek it out, nor did you invite it. Yet there it is, an unwelcome presence, undeniable and heavy, casting a shadow over everything you once thought safe. It's as if the very good within you becomes a threat to those who prefer to remain in their own darkness. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You didn't seek the conflict, but your very existence, your unwavering commitment to truth and goodness, becomes a light that exposes what others would rather keep hidden. And then, in the midst of it all, comes the silence. A deep, hollow silence that feels as though it could swallow you whole. It's a silence that echoes louder than words. In those moments, it feels as if even God has turned His face away, as if the heavens are closed, and your prayers bounce back unanswered. Why, O Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? Psalm 10:1. You pray desperately, crying out for help, but the answers don't come. You seek comfort in the familiar, the things that once gave you peace, but everything feels so distant, so far away. The world around you seems to spin out of control, and you can't grasp hold of anything solid. It's in these moments, chosen one, when the silence feels suffocating, that your faith is tested the most. It's easy to believe when the answers come quickly, when the blessings are visible, when everything feels in its right place. But what happens when the answers are delayed? What happens when it feels like your cries are falling on deaf ears? Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm 23:4. It's in the silence that your trust in God is truly forged. He is still with you, even when you cannot feel His presence. He is still working, even when you cannot see the evidence. This silence is not a sign of abandonment, it's a sign of preparation. The silence, though it feels heavy now, is a part of your journey. In that stillness, God is refining your spirit, strengthening your resolve, and preparing you for the next phase of your destiny. When the world goes silent and it feels like you are alone, remember this: the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. He is closer than you think. It's in these moments when the noise of the world fades away that you can hear His whispers more clearly. Don't lose heart, chosen one, for your light is still shining, and the darkness will not overcome it. Alone in your thoughts, surrounded by shadows, you begin to wonder, has God forgotten me? Does He see what I'm going through? Why does it feel like I've been abandoned? The darkness feels suffocating, doesn't it? It wraps around you like a heavy cloak, and no matter where you turn, you can't see the way forward. It's as though you've been cast into a pit with no ladder, no rope, just towering walls of doubt closing in around you, blocking every attempt to climb out. You cry out, and it feels as though no one hears you, as though all your prayers vanish into the silence. It feels unfair, doesn't it? So painfully, frustratingly unfair. You gave everything, your time, your energy, your heart, and in return, you were cast aside like you didn't matter, as if your sacrifices meant nothing. For we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Romans 8:28. But in those moments, the weight of injustice presses down on you, and it's hard to remember that promise. You watch as those who manipulate, lie, and deceive seem to thrive. They move through life without consequence, basking in the things you've prayed for, things you've worked so hard to achieve. It stings, doesn't it, to see the wicked prosper while you, with your heart full of goodness, sit in the depths of struggle. Why do the wicked prosper? Why do they succeed in their ways? Psalm 73:3. It's a question as old as time, and one that echoes in the hearts of the righteous everywhere. But listen to me, chosen one. The unfairness of it all is a burden, yes, but it is not without purpose. It weighs on your spirit like a heavy stone, but remember that the weight of the righteous will never break you. It will shape you. You may not see the full extent of their downfall right away, but let me assure you, it is happening. Those who think they can walk away from their actions without consequence are living in a lie. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Galatians 6:7. Their lies, their manipulation, their betrayal, these are seeds they've sown, and they will reap what they have planted. Relationships that once seemed strong are crumbling behind the scenes. Careers that once soared are faltering. Health that seemed invincible is deteriorating. You may not see it now, but trust this: their actions have consequences. The Lord sees everything, chosen one. He sees the injustice, the pain, the unfairness. And while it may seem as though they are thriving now, don't be fooled. Though the wicked spring up like grass, and all evildoers flourish, they will be destroyed forever. Psalm 92:7. They may have their moment in the sun, but their foundation is built on lies, and it will crumble. They thought they could walk away from their actions without a trace. But the truth is that every decision they made against you is now weighing on them. Every word they spoke in deceit, every betrayal they inflicted, is being accounted for. The same way God has protected you in the darkest moments, He is now preparing to bring justice. You, chosen one, are not forgotten. The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Trust that God sees the truth, and in His perfect timing, He will make all things right. Your light will not be dimmed by their darkness, and the reward for your faithfulness will be greater than anything you can imagine. The journey of struggle you walk now is leading to victory. You may not see it today, but know that the darkness you're facing is temporary, and the light of God's justice is on the horizon. God is not passive in His protection of His chosen ones. Chosen one. He is not sitting idly by while you struggle. No, He is actively moving on your behalf, orchestrating the battles you cannot see, setting traps for those who have set traps for you. They thought they could manipulate the circumstances, deceive others, and destroy you. But now they are walking straight into the very snares they laid out for you. The Lord is my rock, my fortress and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. Psalm 18:2. Know this, God is your protector, and He is fighting battles for you that you don't even know about. His hand is at work, turning the tide in your favor, while your enemies are being drawn into the very traps they intended to use against you. But do not mistake this for revenge, for this is not about us seeking vengeance. We have forgiven. We have released the burden of their attacks, trusting that God will fight our battles for us. Vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. Romans 12:19. We don't seek to repay evil with evil, but we do trust that God sees everything. He knows the full story, the things hidden in the hearts of those who've wronged you, the lies they've whispered, the attacks they've plotted, and He is balancing the scales in ways only He can. His justice is perfect. It is not swift in the way that human judgment often is, but it is sure. Those who have dared to come against His chosen ones will now feel the full force of His justice. For the Lord will execute judgment upon the gods of this world. He will judge the world in righteousness. Psalm 96:10. Their time is running out. There will be no more warnings, no more chances. Their pride, their arrogance, their rebellion against God's will has led them to this moment. And now they must face the storm they refuse to see coming. It is too late for mercy. God is a God of love, yes, but He is also a God of war. And when someone dares to declare war on His chosen ones, He does not stand by silently. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is His name. Exodus 15:3. He fights back with a vengeance no earthly power can withstand. You may not see it now, but watch closely, for the signs are already appearing. The people who plotted against you, who tried to block your progress, who sought to harm you, they are losing their footing. Their plans, once carefully laid out, are beginning to unravel. Their lies are falling apart, and their lives are crumbling in ways they never anticipated. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Galatians 6:7. This is not random. This is not bad luck. This is divine justice at work, and it is happening right now. For every plot they devised against you, God is turning it back on them tenfold. For every tear you shed, they will experience sorrow. For every obstacle they placed in your path, they will find themselves blocked. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. Whoever rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. Proverbs 26:27. They thought they could play with divine law, but now they are facing the full weight of God's justice. There is no escape. This, chosen one, is the law of the universe, the law of God. Evil cannot stand forever. It may seem like it is thriving now, but it cannot last. It will be destroyed. The wicked will be cut off from the land, and the unfaithful will be torn from it. Proverbs 2:22. And now, your enemies will experience what it means to go against one of God's chosen. This is divine retribution, the balancing of the scales. They ignored the warnings, and now they must pay the price. God has spoken, and his judgment is sure. The time for mercy has passed, and now the destruction they once planned for you will be their own. For the day of the Lord is near, as destruction from the Almighty it will come. Isaiah 13:6. They will reap what they have sown, and there will be no escape from the storm they have brought upon themselves. But you, chosen one, you stand under the protection of God's wings. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Psalm 27:1. Trust that his justice will prevail, and in the end his righteousness will shine through. Your enemy's fate is sealed. They thought they could escape the consequences, but now they will face the very judgment they once tried to bring upon you. The world is full of contradictions, isn't it? How is it that those who do good often suffer the most? How can those whose hearts are filled with malice walk freely, basking in success and worldly riches, while those who carry the light of truth and love are met with endless trials and hardship? It's a question that has plagued many, and you've likely asked yourself the same. Why does it seem that the wicked prosper and the righteous are left to struggle? You've seen it time and time again. People who have done nothing but offer love, kindness, and truth, yet they are the ones who are cast into the fire, abandoned by the very world they've tried to serve. The injustice is glaring. It cuts deep, and it makes you question everything you once believed in, even your faith. You find yourself asking, is all this suffering for nothing? Have my sacrifices gone unnoticed? Does God see the pain I carry? Or am I just another forgotten soul lost in the crowd? The darkness that surrounds you can be suffocating, and it's easy to believe that your cries for justice are lost in the void, unanswered, unheard. But here's the truth. Chosen one, the path of righteousness has never been an easy one. It has always been marked by trial, by testing, by challenges that seem unfair. But it is in this very process that you're being refined. The darkness may feel overwhelming and the valley may seem too deep to cross, but this is not punishment. This is a process, a refining. The fires you're walking through are not meant to break you. They are meant to purify you, to strengthen you for the journey ahead. As the Bible says in 1 Peter 1:7, these have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed. Though it may feel as if God has forgotten you, chosen one, he is closer than you think. His silence is not his absence. He is watching, guiding you, even when you can't see him or feel him. His hand is upon you, leading you through the valley of shadows. In those moments when you feel most abandoned, remember that God is refining you. He is allowing you to see the world for what it truly is, not through the lens of false hopes or fleeting pleasures, but through the eyes of one who is destined for something greater. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. The challenges you face are not without purpose. They are preparing you for the great things God has in store. You will not emerge from this trial as the same person who entered it. When you rise from the ashes, you will be stronger, more grounded in your faith, and clearer in your understanding of the truth. This world may seem filled with contradictions now, but in time you will see that those who have walked the hardest paths, those who have endured the most, are the ones who shine brightest. So hold on, chosen one. Keep moving forward. Trust that God is not only with you in your darkest moments, but is shaping you into the warrior you are meant to be. The light will rise again, and when it does, it will be unmistakable. There will always be injustice in this world, chosen one. It's a reality we must come to terms with, no matter how painful it may be. Those who live only for themselves, who seek to manipulate, deceive, and climb over others to reach the top, will enjoy a brief moment in the sun. But understand this: their success is fleeting. They have no roots, no foundation, no lasting legacy. Their prosperity is like a flower that blooms in the desert. Beautiful, yes, but it withers just as quickly as it appears. They live in the moment, but the moment will pass, and when it does, they will be left empty, without substance, without lasting peace. But you, chosen one, despite the injustices you've faced, despite the pain that has cut so deeply into your soul, are being prepared for something far greater. This is not the end of your story. The struggles you're experiencing, the unfairness you're enduring, are not the final chapter. They are the proving ground, the refining fire that is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to God than ever before. Yes, the darkness may seem all-encompassing right now, but rest assured, it will pass. And when it does, you will rise, not as you once were, but as someone transformed, someone who has endured, someone who has learned, and someone who knows that their true strength lies in their connection to God. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. 2 Corinthians 4:17. The pain you felt will not be for nothing. The tears you've shed will not be in vain. You may not see it clearly now, but God is using every moment of trial to strengthen your faith, to deepen your understanding, and to prepare you for the purpose He has set before you. Keep walking. Even when the road feels long, even when the light seems dim, it's still there, within you, waiting to break through. You may not see it now, but trust that it is shining in your soul, ready to guide you toward your destiny. God has spoken time and time again, warning those who dared to come against you. He has made His presence known to them, shown them the path of righteousness, and whispered in their spirits, cautioning them to turn away from their wickedness. But their arrogance has blinded them. They've convinced themselves that they could escape His warnings, that they were somehow exempt from the consequences of their actions. They thought they could mock His law and get away with it. They believed they could hurt you without consequence, that they could slander, betray, and break you without facing judgment. But now, chosen one, they must face the consequences of their actions. This isn't about revenge. God has already seen to it that their deeds will not go unpunished. This is divine justice. The Bible reminds us, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." Galatians 6:7. Evil can only thrive for so long before the weight of its own darkness consumes it. And now, the time has come for those who have wronged you to pay the price for their actions. God gave them every opportunity to repent, to turn back, to leave you alone. He gave them the chance to soften their hearts, to stop their schemes, to seek forgiveness, but they hardened their hearts. They ignored the whispers of warning. They turned a blind eye to the signs He placed in their path, the people who cautioned them, the quiet moments when God tried to speak to them, and now they will face the full weight of their rebellion. Their time of unchecked arrogance is over, and justice will be served. The Bible assures us that the Lord will repay them according to their deeds, Romans 2:6, and that justice will not be delayed. So, chosen one, don't worry, don't fear, don't wonder if God has forgotten you or your enemies. His justice is always at work, even when we can't see it. And those who have come against you, those who have sought to harm you, to block your progress, to tear you down, they will now experience the consequences of their actions. What they meant for harm will now work against them. The path they chose to walk will now lead them to their own downfall. For the Lord your God is the one who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to give you victory. Deuteronomy 20:4. Each time they plotted against you, chosen one, they weren't just attacking you. No, they were attacking the divine purpose that God placed within you. They thought they could outwit the creator of the universe, that their cunning and deceit were sharp enough to bypass his protection. How foolish they were! For when they raised their hands against you, they were unknowingly raising them against the very will of God. They didn't realize that every scheme they devised, every word they spoke in malice, would only serve to strengthen the divine plan that was already unfolding in your life. But now, the scales are tipping. The very traps they set for you are now ensnaring them. The lies they told are unraveling their lives, exposing their darkness in ways they never expected. What they meant for your downfall will now be the catalyst for their own destruction. Their time is up. There will be no more mercy. They chose this path, and now they must walk it alone, facing the divine consequences of their defiance. God's justice has been set into motion, and no amount of pride or deception can stop it. You, chosen one, have always known there was something different about you. From the moment you were born, you felt the weight of the world's darkness pressing in on you. The trials, the spiritual battles, the enemies who seemed to rise up from nowhere. It was never just bad luck or coincidence. It was spiritual warfare raging around you because you were marked for something greater. You were set apart, destined to carry a purpose that would shift the very fabric of the world around you. God placed his hand on you, and because of that, you've been a target for those aligned with darkness. The enemy sees your light, and they know it threatens their hold on this world. But here's the truth they fail to understand. You are not alone in this battle. You never were. God has been fighting for you every step of the way, even when you couldn't see it. He has been your shield, your protector, and your strength. Every step you've taken, even through the most difficult moments, he has been right beside you, guiding you, holding you up when you couldn't stand on your own. He warned your enemies over and over to leave you alone. Through dreams, through strange encounters, through moments of hesitation, he made it clear that his chosen one was not to be touched. He gave them chance after chance to stop their attacks, to turn away from their path of destruction. But they didn't listen. Their arrogance and pride blinded them. They thought they were untouchable, that their deceitful ways could go on forever, without consequence. They believed they could plot against you and remain untouched by the hand of God. Now, they will see just how wrong they were. What they failed to understand is that God's protection over you is not just a shield. It's a force that turns every weapon formed against you into a lesson, a stepping stone on your journey to greatness. Their attempts to break you only strengthened you. Their lies only exposed the truth. Now, as they face the consequences of their actions, they will realize that they were never fighting you. They were fighting the will of God. And that is a battle no one can win. The universe, in all its vastness and complexity, is governed by laws, divine laws that are unchangeable, unyielding, and beyond the reach of human manipulation. These laws are not mere suggestions. They are the foundation upon which creation itself stands. And one of the most fundamental of these laws is this: what is done in darkness will inevitably come to light. Every evil action will be met with justice. You may wonder, why does it feel like the wicked prosper while the righteous suffer? Why do the deceitful seem to have all the rewards, while those who do good struggle? Is this world truly fair? Let's pause and reflect. In 1 Peter 2:19-23, we are told that it is commendable when we endure suffering for doing good, just as Christ did for us. For to this you were called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example, that you should follow his steps. The world may seem unfair, but this path of righteousness is not without purpose. God's timing is not our timing. His patience, while vast, does have its limits. His justice, when it comes, is swift and precise. His wrath is not a human emotion. It is righteous and deliberate, a response to those who choose to live in defiance of his law. This is the nature of divine justice. It is always certain, always coming, and when it arrives, it brings a reckoning that no earthly power can withstand. But what does this justice look like? Does it mean we, as the chosen ones, are passive bystanders waiting for judgment to unfold? No. God has promised to fight for us. Exodus 14:14 tells us, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." The justice of God unfolds in his perfect timing, and he often uses these moments of hardship to refine his chosen ones. And while it may seem like your enemies are getting away with their actions, there is something happening beyond what we can see with our earthly eyes. What they've done in the dark, those moments of cruelty, deceit, and manipulation, will come to light. God has a way of turning the tables on those who think they can escape his gaze. In Romans 2-6, we are reminded that God will repay each person according to what they have done. Every secret sin, every whispered lie, and every plot against you is not hidden from his eyes. It may appear that they are thriving, but this is only temporary, like grass that flourishes for a season before withering away. The wicked may be enjoying their moment of success, but it is fleeting, and the consequences of their actions will catch up to them. Have you ever found yourself asking, why does evil seem to win for a while? Why do the ones who spread lies and deceit get away with it, while you, who have tried to live righteously, face hardship and pain? It's easy to feel like the world is upside down, but remember the words of Galatians 6:7-9. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. What the wicked sow, they will eventually reap, even if it doesn't seem that way right now. The timing may not be immediate, but it is coming. Their success is a mirage, a temporary illusion. They will reap what they have sown, and that is the justice of God at work. This is not about karma or fate. This is about the divine law of justice that God has established for all creation. The principle is clear. Every act of evil, every injustice, and every moment of darkness will be exposed in the light. You might be thinking, when will this happen? When will those who have wronged me face the consequences of their actions? The truth is, it's happening now. You may not see it, but God is working behind the scenes, moving in ways that are beyond our understanding. He is setting the stage for a divine reversal, where those who sought to tear you down will now face the consequences of their own actions. The arrogance they once relied on is their downfall. Proverbs 16:18 warns us, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." Their pride has blinded them to the reality of the divine law they are violating, and now they must pay the price. Your enemies may think they have escaped the watchful eye of God. They may believe that their lies, manipulations, and schemes will go unnoticed, but God sees everything. He is not passive in his protection of his chosen ones. He is actively working on your behalf, setting things in motion that you cannot see with your natural eyes. And soon, very soon, you will witness how their actions, every single one of them, are coming back to them. What they did in secret is now being brought to the light, and they will have to face the consequences. The justice of God is not something to fear if you are walking in His righteousness. It is something to trust in because it will set everything right. The law of God is unstoppable. No matter how much your enemies resist or deny it, they cannot avoid what is coming. This is divine justice, and it will not fail. When God says the time is up, it is up. Their moment of pride has ended, and now they must face the consequences of their actions. There is no escaping the reckoning. As we conclude this journey through the powerful truths of divine justice, remember this: the time for mercy has passed for those who have persistently defied God's will. But for you, the chosen ones, your time has come. The season of struggle, pain, and darkness is drawing to a close. This is not the end of your story. It is only a chapter that is preparing you for what lies ahead. You are being molded for greatness, a greatness far beyond your understanding. When you emerge from this trial, you will emerge not only victorious, but stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to God than ever before. Trust in His plan. Trust in His timing. The light within you, the light of His divine purpose, is far stronger than any darkness the enemy may throw your way. Keep walking in faith, for God has never left your side. Your enemies may have plotted against you, but it is you who will rise, and in the end they will see their own downfall. As this message stirs your spirit, remember, you are not alone. The divine justice of God is unfolding, and it is working on your behalf. So, I encourage you to stand firm, keep moving forward, and trust that the best is yet to come. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to like, share, and comment below. Let us hear your thoughts and your story. Let us walk this journey of faith together. Don't keep this powerful truth to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. You never know how this message might impact someone else's life. May God's blessings overflow in your life. May His peace guard your heart, His wisdom guide your steps, and His protection surround you always. Keep shining bright, for the best chapters of your story are still ahead. God's justice is on your side, and victory is already yours. Blessings to you all.